night, my ward became like the dim caverns of the catacombs, where, instead of the dead in their final rest, there were wasted figures burning with fever and raving from the agony of splintered bones, tossing restlessly from side to side with every ill it seemed which human flesh was heir to. From the rafters, the flickering oil lamp swung mournfully, casting a ghastly light. Private Alexander Hunter, 17th Virginia.
When the war began, there were only a handful of Army hospitals in the North. When it ended, the Union was running more than 350, the Confederacy 154. There were 16 hospitals in Washington alone. When these proved insufficient, men were cared for in the patent office, even in the House and Senate chambers. Hospitals were giant warehouses for the dying. The biggest and best, north or south, was Chimborazo at Richmond, with 8,000 beds, 5 soup kitchens, ice houses, dairy cattle, a herd of goats, a bakery that turned out 10,000 loaves of bread a day, and a 400-keg brewery.
Aroused and angry, I'd thought to beat the alarm and urge relentless war. But soon my fingers failed me, my face drooped, and I resigned myself to sit by the wounded and soothe them, or silently watch the dead. Walt Whitman.
Walt Whitman was too old for the ranks, not qualified to be an officer, not enthusiastic about firing a gun or drawing a sword on another man. But when his younger brother was wounded at Antietam and Whitman went to find him in the hospital, he was appalled by what he saw. He moved to Washington to help with the wounded, giving out small gifts, changing dressings, and reciting his poetry.
The doctors tell me I supply the patients with a medicine which all their drugs and bottles and powders are helpless to yield. It has saved more than one life, so I go around. Some of my boys die, some get well.
No woman under 30 years need apply to serve in government hospitals. All nurses are required to be very plain-looking women. Their dresses must be brown or black, with no bows, no curls, no jewelry, and no hoop skirts. Dorothea Dix.
Early in the war, Dorothea Dix volunteered her services to the Union. The 59-year-old crusader for the mentally ill was put in charge of all women nurses employed by the armies. Tireless and so autocratic, one woman called her Dragon Dix, she barred any applicant she thought interested in romantic adventure. Even nuns were sometimes turned down. By the end of the war, though, the only question she asked potential recruits was, "When can you start?" Under her strict guidance, care for the sick and wounded was vastly improved. Despite the bitter criticism and petty rivalry of male colleagues, she stayed at her post for all 4 years, the entire war, without pay.
Army Square Hospital. I am learning not to let myself feel as much as I did at first. Yet I never can get used to it. Harriet Foote Hawley.
They would see that the doctor gave them up, and they'd ask me about it. I would tell them the truth. I told one man that, and he asked how long. I said not over 20 minutes. He did not show any fear, they never do. He put his hand up so and closed his eyes with his own fingers, then stretched himself out and crossed his arms over his breast. "Now, fix me," he said. I pinned the toes of his stockings together. That was the way we laid corpses out, and he died in a few minutes. His face looked as pleasant as if he was asleep. And many's the time the boys have fixed themselves that way before they died.
Lorenzo Strong, Company A, 9th United States Cavalry, shot by a shell last Sunday, right leg amputated on the field, took a turn for the worse. I stayed and saw all. The doctor comes in and gives him a little chloroform. One of the nurses constantly fans him, for it is fearfully hot. He asks to be raised up, and they put him in a half-sitting posture. He called for Mark repeatedly, half deliriously all day. Life ebbs, runs now with the speed of a mill race. His eyes turn back. A crowd, including 2 or 3 doctors, several students, and many soldiers, has silently gathered. The struggle goes on and dwindles, a little more and a little more, and then welcome oblivion, painlessness, death. A pause. The crowd drops away. June 17, 1864. Dearest Mother, this place seems to have got the better of me. I think I shall come home for a short time.